accomplish the goal of Youth Connect Summit Africa of creating 10 million sustainable jobs, 25 million opportunities through training and placement, and 1 million African leaders and advocates by next year. Our Rwanda-based correspondent Adrian Kowi had a word with the Segal Family Foundation Senior Project Officer Liana Nzambapwema on how.
One of the targets of the Youth Connect Africa Summit is to make sure that 1 million African youth are built and trained to the extent where they can be leaders and have a voice in society, and make sure that they're also training other people and giving opportunities to others. And the Segal Family Foundation is doing this at a large scale, covering different countries of Africa. With me right here is Liana of the senior program manager of the Segal Foundation. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I just want you to take me through what the Segal Family Foundation does exactly.
So the Segal Family Foundation started back in 2007, and the founder himself was an entrepreneur who believed that entrepreneurs can really change how the jobs are created and how different issues are solved, social issues. So currently we work in 20 countries, supporting over 200 organizations and social entrepreneurs on the continent in Africa, where we nurture and support young leaders who are bringing innovation, innovative ideas to address different challenges that communities face in Africa. So we do that at different levels. We take on different organizations, NGOs, and social enterprises that are mature and who need flexible money and who need the capacity support that help them to build and strong systems and to be able to operate and execute and obviously create the impact that they want to see. But we also have other younger innovators who are not always seen on the scene, who are always seen as too risky for different investors and philanthropists. And I always like to say that we go where no one wants to go and make it a place where everyone wants to go. So it's about really identifying those talented young innovators, providing them capacity support that they need to grow their social enterprises, but also providing them access to different networks so that they can know what's happening in Japan, in Europe, and learn from other entrepreneurs, but also can connect with other investors. And beyond that is also looking at what's the policy like. These young entrepreneurs cannot thrive if they are not working in a conducive environment. So we work with different governments here in Rwanda, work with Rwanda Development Board to say, Rwanda has done an amazing work with creating that environment, but there is always, other areas where we see gaps, and that we continue to work with them. And really the idea is to create an ecosystem that is strong enough, that is including academia, private sector, and philanthropy space, to say how are we creating a space where these young innovators can be supported the right way, can be funded the right way, and can actually create viable enterprises that we can come back and say in the next 10 years, how many enterprises were created, how many jobs were created, to really add to what you were saying, the vision of Youth Connect. And this is how we're really contributing. And just last thing is that we are really building the largest interconnected hubs across Africa, from southern part to eastern part of Africa, and West Africa being one of the areas that we're also going in the future.
Amazing. Thank you. So one of the things that I've noticed from all these summits and everything is that for the transformation of Africa to take place, for that growth to actually take place and the youth to take lead, one thing must change: the mindset, the mindset of the youth towards the government and towards work and making something happen. So what are those fundamental policies or principles that you believe every African youth must adapt or actively practice to to make sure that they are achieving the dream that all these people gather together to make sure happen.
I would say for the youth is really, the earlier conversation we were having was, is a degree something that youth really should look up for, or they can actually still be amazing and still thrive without it. So, we see a lot of jobs that are now being created without even that degree, but then people learning to learn and acquiring new skills through, again, internet and other platforms that were not existing before. So it's really creating those platforms where people can skill up themselves, but also can now showcase what they've learned, can have the right mentoring and coaching to actually transform it into something that is going to make them earn a living, but beyond that, create really thriving industries and enterprises.
Still on Rwanda, the third edition of Youth Connect Africa Summit came to a close in Kigali on Thursday. The summit, dedicated to empower African youth with knowledge, skills and opportunities, brought together over 8,000 youth from 91 countries.